Welcome to Near Falls with D. Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D. Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. We're talking Near Falls with D. Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls with D Hall, a wrestling podcast. Today, so excited. This is the best time of year, my favorite project of the year, the 24-25 WPIAL Coaches Preview. So excited to bring this to you guys. I have a bunch of different coaches coming on from across the WPIAL. They're going to come on, talk about their schedule, expectations, up-and-comers, their leaders, their seniors, all that type of stuff. You guys know the drill. This is year 3 or 4 of me doing it. So pumped up to bring it to you guys. I really hope you enjoy it, and just hope you enjoy listening to these guys talk like I did. It was always a blast for me, and this year was no different. So without further ado, welcome in to the WPIAL Coaches Preview.
Welcome to the Near Falls WPIAL Show, where D.R. and Kaz are gonna tell you all the things you wanna know. Whether it's Trinity or Spencer Lee or Mr. Kurt Angle, just ask Vinny, WPIAL, yeah, Ken and Mac for sure. They got the interviews to soothe your soul, because it's Near Falls in the WPIAL.
All right, joining me now on the call, we have head coach of Butler Area School District, Mr. Scott Sterner. How are you, sir?
Good, Donnie. How are you? And glad you had me on, man.
Oh, it's always a blast to have you on, my friend. Pumped up. This time of year is always the best time of year. It's like Christmas early. It's getting a little cold out there, you know. It's great stuff. So let's just get right into it, man. You had a fantastic year last year. Case.
Well, we had individuals. We didn't have, we as a dual meet team. That's
what I'm talking about. I was gonna get you're jumping on me, but I love it. So as far as individuals, you had a fantastic year. You have a couple guys committing to big time colleges that are getting ready to do their senior year. But talk about your alumni. I mean, college just kicked off. Who's wrestling in college, and what's going on that circuit for Butler?
I believe Nick Shakowitz is still with the team at Edinburgh. He's a lightweight. I had a couple years ago, and then 2 years ago I had a heavyweight, Ethan Babay, who was a really a big story for us. He was a kid that just came out and was kind of Jake Palmacata's practice partner, and really did well for a kid that came out in 10th grade. The biggest thing that was exciting for me about it was he was a football guy all these years, and then we convinced him to come out to see, just what wrestling could do for you, as most coaches understand with wrestling. And he came out, and he ended up just missing getting the state tournament, and only his senior year, where he was actually a starter sitting behind Jake. He's at Fairmont State. He had some knee surgery.
I love that, man.
He's down there, and he's actually had some knee surgeries, and I think he's going to redshirt this year. And he's actually dropped way down. He may be 197, where he's a kid that really looked like a big heavyweight at one point, and maybe a little bit overweight. And he's really trimmed down, and it looks like some Adonis type sculpted figure. So we're proud of him, and seeing that. Yeah, absolutely.
Mullet to looking like a showpiece, huh? Go ahead, baby. I like that.
Yeah, and then and he's a great kid. He's just and that's part of, I think, for every coach out there, they can echo what I'm going to say now, that they really love to see their kids go on and wrestle at the next level, and that's so satisfying. And then as I talked about with Jake Palmacata, who's he's at Johns Hopkins, and he's literally going to be a brain surgeon.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's a good day. I've told him that I'd like to be his first patient and have him take a look at me real close, because there's some things that might not be copacetic up there.
Maybe he can align something for you,
Yeah, but he's actually he actually took third at a tournament this weekend, and
nice.
he was doing football and he dropped out of that and made wrestling his love, which is another, just a great feeling to have the opportunity to play football. And we see so many times kids go and do that and forget about wrestling. And he's gone the other way. So two success stories with those two big guys, two biggies. So awesome.
Men after your own heart, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I love that. Okay, talk to me about this year, man. The off-season program. What's it look like for you guys? How have you kind of prepared? And in that question, you can kind of roll in how last year went. You talked a little bit about
Yeah.
off the top. You have kind of a down dual meet season. I think a lot of injuries that we talked
Yeah.
about early in the season that kind of
Yeah.
attributed to that. But roll that question together for me.
Sure. Coming off last season, I think, talking about where we were as far as a dual meet team 2 years ago, we had 20 some wins and, right there trying to get to the state tournament. And then last year, after losing some seniors, I had some up and coming guys and we had 4 kind of season ending catastrophic injuries right away. And that really killed us. You're coming back after losing 5 seniors and then you have kids that you're hoping and knowing that they're going to get better as the season goes on, and all of a sudden there's a shoulder, there's a knee, there's a, it was really, really a tough year to try to, be competitive as far as a dual meet team. So we healed a lot of those kids up, and my own son was one of those. He had a bad dislocation of his elbow at his club, and he's been wrestling pretty hard since he was cleared, and he's getting better. And some of the other kids that I thought might not come out have come out. So those were the ones with the injuries. So it's looking pretty good. And as I'm sitting back and looking at my schematics as far as weight classes and where people go, I think once the 2 pound allowance comes in, we'll have quite a few people drop into the weight classes and have a fairly solid kid at every weight class, just about the whole way through the lineup, barring injury or anything like that again. So I'm excited about that. Off season, as you asked, we had some of our more serious guys that were going to clubs and wrestling competitively in some of the open tournaments throughout. And then, we run legacy wrestling 2 days a week all summer long. And we had quite a few kids getting in there. And especially some of my ninth graders that are up with me until we have to declare a roster. And they put some additional time in there as well. So, yeah, I'm really optimistic. I like the attitude right now. I'm probably answering a lot of your questions you're going to answer for me, but I figure I'm on a roll. I'll just keep running
No,
through it.
keep
But
going. You're doing
yeah,
great.
yeah, I'm really excited about the attitude in the room right now. With the kids we have, ninth graders maybe coming up to the team, and then my leaders like your Santino Slobodas, obviously, and Case Chop, my 2 state qualifiers, and then some of my other kids, like Nick Savannah, who wrestled quite a bit this summer. He did some time at Quest and is just about every time I have my club open, he's down there. So, it really creates a nice nucleus of things that these other kids that are coming up or filling in for the first time are going to feed off of. So I'm excited about the energy of the room right now, and just getting a couple weeks under our belts and really getting to that post Christmas time where guys have got a good month or so of daily work and daily development in the room under my watchful eye.
Yeah, talk to me about you touched a little. Obviously, we know who your hammers are, and they've been stalwarts of your program for years now, and kind of helped morph the program into what it is. But talked about the freshmen or guys coming back for injury that we might look up, at Cannon Mac on Saturday night and say, hey, that Butler kid's in the blood round wrestling for a chance to go to states. Who's someone like that we might not know about?
No, I think I think Nick Savannah last year did a nice job for us at 107. He'll definitely be someone that if he makes it down to 109, and that's our plan. He's been working really hard. I think he'll be one of those kids. My own son, I'm hoping he finds his weight class. He's going to probably go 45. He wants to go 39. When that weight class becomes 41, I'm hoping we really have some leaps and bounds with his progress. He was doing real well last year, spent a lot of time wrestling down at Quest and putting time in. And when he got injured, he was out how long. And now he's been building that back up. And really had to go back and restart a lot of things, and he's just had a good practice, a lot of practice. These first couple days has looked really good. So Troy Ritzen's a kid that he started at Shar Houston last year for us. He'd been out for a while. He's 190. He's a upper weight, like he'll probably be 195, 189. He's actually he blew out his knee at Chartiers Houston. It was a freak thing. He went out of bounds and kind of stepped, and there went his ACL.
That's
So he could.
crazy.
He actually, yeah, it was weird. He was winning. I think he was wrestling the fourth seed, and he had taken him down 2 or 3 times. He's a big hulk of a kid, and he's pretty
Mm,
athletic. So I'm hoping that, last year really killed him because that time is so valuable, especially when you have a kid that has some background, but he's been away from it for a while. Then he comes back, and you're like, man, we can really pick up some ground here. And when he got hurt, that obviously killed us for the season, but put us a little bit behind this year and him catching up again. But he could be a kid that no one knew who he was last year, and he could do pretty well. I could see him winning 25, 30 matches. Um, when I looked through the lineup, also Gavin Rush, who wrestled, and he's kind of an unorthodox, goofy style of wrestler. He had a torn labrum. He wrestled through it all year and still won about 26, 27 matches last year. He's gone to WPIALs his freshman, sophomore, and junior year. So he's a competitor, and, he's moved up a couple weight classes, and he feels like he can wrestle those bigger kids a little bit better because they're not as quick and explosive. And with his scrambly type style and unorthodox stuff he does, that certainly makes sense in my book a little bit, and it helps to round out my dual meet lineup. So, yeah, Chop's going to be there. Leo Irapino also, he ended up being section runner up for us, went up a weight class last year after Chop went down, and he's a real scrapper. So him and Sutton are going to be looking at 141, 147 when those weight classes change and where we're going to put them.
coaching staff, is the legend still rolling around with you guys? I'm sure. And
Yeah, Coach Powell. Yeah, Coach Powell's in there, and he was on the mat today. He was working ankle picks with the guys, and working on different types of setups, to ankle picks and knee picks, and then he was doing front defense and chest lock, and we do like a little tight waist bump over that we do, and he changes his hips over. I took a picture. I'll have to send it to you later. He's still down there going at it. And we're also lucky enough to have Blake Caudell, who wrestled for me years ago. He
yep,
has about 130 wins, and really a very dynamic wrestler. He's a lot of the reason I think we have success with Santino at times, because he can still grind and roll with him. And Blake's just very talented athletically. So they'll get into some really good scrambles, and he'll put Santino, in bad positions. And he challenges him, and it's a great thing for him. He's back with us. He wrestled at Eastern Michigan, was a starter up there for 4 years, Division I. And then Alex Evanoff, who was one of Ron Headley's guys down at Waynesburg College, and a leader and a team captain for him for years, and wrestled for me, had over 100 wins. He's back with me again. And then we're dusting off this name, TJ McCants, who wrestled at Clarion, wrestled for me, had 100 wins. He's getting back into it a little bit and wants to help out. I guess being a financial advisor isn't giving him this need to get in there and wrestle, and he's going to come back out and help us out a little bit. Some of those guys, and I talk about my own son, and coaches have coached their own kids. It's great to have those assets, because I can send him over there and say, hey, go work with TJ on this, and I can get the same things accomplished, and maybe even more, that I'm not dad coach, teaching him, someone else is. So those guys are just so valuable resource. I'm pretty fortunate to have that many collegiate wrestlers, ex-collegiate wrestlers, and obviously with Coach Powell that are in my room. So
it's not a
I'm
bad
very,
lineup, my friend.
yeah, I'm very blessed. Yeah.
Talk to me about your schedule. How have you changed it at all for this year? The same? What's it look like?
Well, we start out. Well, obviously, I like that Chartiers Houston tournament at the beginning. It's a good test. There's usually Frank does a great job bringing in some obviously local teams, but some good double A's and good triple A guys. You get a nice mix of things. And you know what? For me, honestly, over the years, I like to start slow. I think that as the seasons progresses, then you start coaching and you start seeing just the fruits of your labor as the season goes on. And I think that tournament provides a great opportunity, and just about any big tournament in PA is going to do this. It's going to bring your blue chip all-star guys that are state place winners, and they're going to bring guys that are scrappers from little rinky-dink schools out in the middle of nowhere that are going to show you different things. So we start out there, and that gives my kids that don't have as much experience a good opportunity to start up and go from there. But prior to Christmas, we just have a couple section matches with Mars and Pine Richland. We picked up a non-section with Indiana. It's an easy trip for us. And then we hit the Southmoreland Classic, and then we have Midwinter Mayhem on the schedule again. I think they do a great job of bringing in quite a few teams. And again, they have, I think, 60 some teams there.
It's a great one.
You're going to see some hammers. Yeah, it's just a great, that was a great addition years ago whenever they put something of that size and that caliber that can bring in teams from all over PA.
It's a great location too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you can get it. Yeah, exactly. You said a bunch of different schools, and of course, this year with the addition of the the regional tournament, you need to see some of those schools, right?
Yeah, yeah. And we can talk about all that and how that's gonna. Everybody's kind of got their own opinions of the change in the qualification system, and are we going to be beating up each other again another weekend? And we're double A. They've done that somewhat
Yeah.
times in the past. And I think you look at some of the matches, and you could probably define those more than I could, where you had two kids wrestle each other in the section finals. They wrestled each other in the dual meet, wrestled each other in the WPIAL finals, and they wrestled each other at states. I think was it Sean Clare and kid from Connellsville, Ashton Primus, and McKnight all wrestled each other in WPIL finals, and then they wrestled each other in state, and they went 1, 2, 3 WPILs. And so that's one of the things with that qualification as we bring that up. How's that going to look, and are we going to be wrestling each other again 2 weekends in a row? Just to finish up our schedule a little bit, we go to the Clearfield Duels, which again is a nice tournament. You go out there, and I think last year there were at least six teams that were in the team championships, either double or triple A there that we saw. And they've been, that's been kind of a regular thing for them out there all the time. And some of them are double A teams, but that's great competition. And then we actually didn't have another dual meet tournament, so we picked up the Pine Richland duels at the end of the year just because it fit into the schedule. And be honest with you, last year we had a very long period of time leading up to individuals where it was a lot of downtime, dead time, and I'd rather see the kids competing a little bit more. And we picked that dual meet tournament up with the idea we're going to have 5 or 6 matches.
Now, the next question I have for you, and I've been asking everyone this. I've heard that like the Tri-County tournament, the Allegheny County tournament, the MAC tournament, if you're in one of those, then it doesn't count against your schedule. Have you heard official word on that? The point system, all that?
Yeah, actually, my athletic director is Bill Milan, who's on the WPIL committee, and Bill and I have been friends since I coached him in college, and I was the best man at his wedding, and he was the worst man at mine, so I kind of got how that works.
You got some good information.
Yeah. We'll keep that to ourselves. But anyway, the question mark is that these are supposed to be established conferences, and how are they going to actually interpret that? So you have the MAC conference, which is teams like, I think Mars is in it, and it goes over into Beaver County.
West A
Freedom's in there. West A is in there. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's an established conference from what I understand, and they do things with their football conference. They do things with their basketball and other sports. The Westmoreland County tournament, which, that's where I came from, and the Allegheny County tournament, they're county tournaments, but they're not necessarily, from what they look at, as a defined conference. Now, are they going to say, yes, this can be a conference, this is a county thing? We don't know. I think there's just a interpretation that's got to take place. With that in mind, I'm already ahead on, and actually Tri-County is actually Tri-Cata.
Right.
That's actually a conference from what
that's what the Cannon Met coach was telling me, that they think it's going to be a green light for Tryon County as well.
Yeah. So if that's the case, again, here I am. Now I'm up in Butler County all by myself, with hardly anything going on. So Coach Myler and I talked about, why don't we go ahead and try to establish a conference/county type event? Well, there aren't many teams in Butler County, but there's also some counties up in the northern area that they're there isn't many other teams. We're pretty sparsely populated up here. So my thought was I'll start putting together something called like a northern quad county, and it would be Indiana, Armstrong, Butler, and Lawrence counties. You're only picking up about 13 teams.
So you're
But
talking like a Reynolds and that far over,
no,
or
no. Our thought process would be keep it within teams that are centered geographically in the
okay,
WPIAL, which would be most easy to sell to them
I
and
got
say
you.
that this is going to be a conference. And he said, you apply and you see what happens, and it might not happen for a couple years. And again, some of the teams that are up here aren't necessarily wrestling rich traditions, but what it does for us is gives us opportunity to have an extra competition, which everybody
It
else
gets
is
the extra
getting.
points. Yeah,
Yeah, and it gives kids extra matches, and again, you're gonna find some kids that are out of these little small double A schools that are hammers that that'll help your kids, and you're getting another weekend to compete instead of just beating each other up at practice at times. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with it, but that's certainly about what I'm looking at doing now, and I'm
yeah,
certainly looking at trying to take advantage of it if I can.
that makes sense.
Yep.
Next thing I got, and I feel like I'm gonna be heard, or I'll get the same reaction I'm got from everyone. But the rule changes as far as the
Yeah.
takedowns, the
Yeah.
near falls. What's your thoughts on all that?
Tony, I'm kind of a traditionalist. I don't like to
Oh,
change things.
interesting.
I
Okay.
so I don't know. I'd be
What
interested in
about
hearing
out of
what some of the
bounds?
other
The
guys
college out
say.
of bounds.
Yeah, I like that idea because it gives you a little bit more scoring opportunity. But again, I think everybody else probably told you said something about what happens when you're over against that wall or you're over against,
Correct.
and
Yep.
I've seen a lot of referees do a great job of managing kids to keep them inbounds and to keep other kids away and that kind of thing. But you think about team or places like Southmoreland, you're up against a wall at certain places in a small mat in the first place. I mean, you're going to be banging into the wall and blown out anyway. So I think that is a good addition. You know, I'd be interested in talking to more people and getting their input on the whole scoring thing. I'm not. I like the 2 points. I like the takedown being two. I like the back points and things. I do like the fact that you get more points. You can get up to four. Um, I don't know. It's going to be different for me to sit there and uh, coach it differently. And for the idea, there's what it can be, what 7-8-0 after a takedown and an exposure to their back. I mean,
Yep.
we're going to have a lot of tech falls, or guys like Santino that can put a person to his back. Is that going to breed more of I'll take him down, and I'll let him go, so I can take him down a bunch of times at least? And I don't know how all that's going to work. Um, I once we start talking and I start, conversing more on a regular basis and we have a couple matches in, I'll have a maybe better idea. But, again, I know a lot of people want to see more scoring, but I tend to like being on top and riding and being in the bottom and getting out and getting reversals. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to see how it goes, buddy.
Interesting. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, okay. Give me your goals and expectations for the squad.
Well, I obviously every year I would like to win the section title, but we've only won like one in how many years, and it's always difficult with NA. I think Pine Richmond will be a little stronger this year than Seneca Valley. That's going to be something that I obviously every year try to put together a team to win the section, and we'll see where it goes. I think, as I told you before, that if I drop my kids down and they are where they're supposed to be, I'll have a nice competitive lineup. But take a look at everybody at this point and who has who coming back, it's without seeing them in action and getting some results. I don't really know, but I'd like to win that section. Obviously, the tournament schedule we have is one that I'd like to be competitive in all those, if not winning some of those smaller regional tournaments, and put ourselves up there. And that's the thing. You can go in and say, "Hey, we want to win this. We want to win this," but realistically, we want to wrestle well so that we win it. It's not just looking at the end result. How are we getting to the point where we should be able to say, "Hey, let's win this tournament," or finding ourselves in first place after a day or two? even individually, or this is the team, how we're qualifying is going to be, where we're crossing over and things like that. It's going to be interesting. So
Gotcha. Okay.
one of
Last
the
thing.
biggest things is just keeping my guys healthy for a year. After
Yeah,
last year, I'm like kind of holding my breath at times.
I hear you.
Yeah,
When you have big devastating injuries like that, it's
yeah, yeah.
it's
It's scary.
definitely on the mind, no doubt.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't ask this. Room games. What do you guys get into, and do you get involved? I know you're a gym teacher. What do you get into for
Ah,
up there in Butler?
we do a little dodgeball, as anybody does, some partner dodgeball where one guy's throwing at another guy and he can release him and things like that. We used to do. We had uh, the Mormon a couple years back, Caleb Hartung, big guy that I got out, and his dad was actually his Hall of Fame basketball coach, and they had like 14 kids. They just drive around this full stuff. And he was the last one, and he came out for wrestling. And dad's this legendary basketball coach that screams at the top of his lungs all the time, and you can hear him at Walmart or something. And this kid came out and just just like his dad commanded a presence in the room, and he just grabbed a jump rope one day and got down real low and started swinging it around, and everybody had to jump over it, and he called it the wild woozy, and just its name, and then they would all jump over it, and he got real serious about the way you were playing it, and he would throw people out, and we haven't done that for a while. I may reinstate that because it just seems to be such just a dumb type thing, but everyone
Yep.
carries on and hoots and hollers and does it. So
I love it, man.
yeah, we had him doing that.
That's good stuff. And I've said it a few times, but man, wrestlers, they can make games out of anything.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and they'll create the rules, and then 5 minutes later they'll be fighting over the rules that they just created. So
Well, we're competitors, man. We want to
yeah,
fight. We're alphas. We want to find out who's the best at everything, and it's in our blood. And God forbid they ever take it from us, because I mean, obviously, as this breed of wrestlers forges forward in our future in our society, we have to
yeah,
wonder at times,
yeah.
what's our place down the road.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
Last thing I got, social medias. How can we follow your squads this year?
We basically do the Facebook stuff on Butler GT Wrestling, and then we have an Instagram account. I'm not a big Instagram guy. It was enough for me just to get on the old folks, Facebook stuff a while ago. But I think I'm going to start posting again on Instagram and things like that. They can follow us there. We'll keep up with things there. So I'll have to lean on Sloboda. I mean, he's a guy that obviously has many other talents other than wrestling, buying used shoes and things like that online. Him and my son always load up and go to the bins down in Pittsburgh, and they go and get vintage clothing, and they sell it and do all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, baby.
I'll have to lean on him a little
I
bit and
love that
maybe
game, man. I
so,
know that
yeah.
game. It's a great
Yeah,
game.
yeah, they
That's
love
good
it. They
stuff.
love loading up and look at this, Dad. Look at this sweatshirt. It's great. Well, it's 10 times too big for you, but okay, if you say it's great.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. Okay. Give me shout out. Anyone you want to shout out? Anything you want to shout out before I leave you go?
Not anyone I can really think about. I mean, if I need to, I'll get a hold of them. I guess I can talk to
Yeah.
them. But I just want to reiterate. Like, I think I always leave you with this. Just how grateful I am to be a coach in Western Pennsylvania, the best wrestling in the whole country. No one's going to change my mind about that. And challenge all those coaches that I sit across the mat from to put forth the best team they can put forth on the mat. And love this great sport that we've been a part of and we've been blessed to be part of for all these years, and keep working at it at whatever level you're at. And you don't have to be a head coach to contribute and be part of it. Just keep it alive, keep it working, work on creating the best environment and the best sport for the kids and the affect fans and spectators, man. And you're doing a great part of that. So I'll give you a shout out, buddy.
My man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. And
Okay.
as always, Coach, much love, and can't wait to see you out there at the tournaments very soon.
I'll be there. All right. See you guys. Thanks,
Later,
everyone.
later.